If you receive supplemental security income, or you're helping a parent who does, you may have seen the number $994 in the news and expected exactly that amount to arrive. For 2026, $994 a month is the regular maximum the federal government pays a single eligible individual. It's a ceiling, not a promise. Your own payment usually starts there, and then income and a few other rules can lower it, which is why so many older recipients receive less than the full figure. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the basic calculation, show you why the same dollar amount can affect your check differently depending on where it comes from, and explain the exceptions worth knowing. What the $994 figure actually is. The official name for that number is the federal benefit rate. Social Security sets it once a year and raises it with the annual cost of living adjustment. For 2026, the adjustment was 2.8%, which moved the individual rate from $967 last year to $994 a month. For a couple where both people qualify, the combined 2026 rate is $1,491. For a typical eligible individual, $994 is the maximum regular federal rate. There is one extremely rare legacy exception. Certain SS1 cases that trace back to qualifying state assistance and household arrangements in December 1973 can receive an essential person increment. Each qualifying increment is $498 in 2026, but this is not a general caregiver benefit available to new applicants. SSI is a needs-based program. It was built to fill part of the gap for a person with little income, not to pay everyone the same flat amount. So the more countable income you have, the smaller your SSI payment becomes, until it phases out. In Social Security's December 2024 data, only 27.2% of recipients classified in its aged eligibility category received the full federal maximum, while the rest received less because of other income or their living situation. That's the pattern this video explains. The basic two-step federal formula and its limits. The basic federal calculation starts with 2 steps, though the rate, the exclusions, any deemed income, shelter support, and state supplements can all change the inputs. Step 1. Social Security adds up your income for the month and subtracts the portions they don't count. What's left is your countable income. Step 2. They subtract that countable income from the $994 rate. Whatever remains is your federal SSI payment. The surprising part is how much income doesn't count. Social Security generally ignores the first $20 of income in a month. That's the general income exclusion, applied only once. It's applied first to unearned income, and if any of the $20 is left over, it carries to earnings. If you work, there's an additional break on top of that. The first $65 of earnings is set aside, and then only half of what remains is counted. That's why work income reduces SSI more slowly than a pension or a Social Security check. Diane, with $400 of unearned income. Let me put 2026 numbers to it with a hypothetical woman named Diane, age 72, who lives alone. This is an illustration, not a real recipient, and your own result could differ. Diane's only income is a $400 Social Security retirement benefit. That's unearned income. Social Security subtracts the $20 general exclusion, leaving $380 of countable income. Then they subtract that $380 from the 2026 rate of $994. Diane's SSI payment works out to $614 a month. Add her $400 Social Security check, and she has $1,014 in total monthly income. She never sees the full $994 in SS1, because her Social Security benefit already filled part of that needs-based gap. That's the program working as written, not a mistake. The same $400, but earned. Now change one thing. Suppose Diane instead earned that $400 from a part-time job. Watch what happens. Social Security subtracts the $20 general exclusion and the $65 earnings exclusion, which brings $400 down to $315. Then they count only half of that, which is $157.50 of countable earnings. Subtracting $157.50 from $994 leaves an SSI payment of about $836.50. Same $400 coming in, but because it's earned, her SSI is more than $200 higher. What that comparison does and doesn't prove is worth stating plainly. Under the basic federal SSI calculation, wages generally reduce SS1 more slowly than unearned income, because only part of the remaining earnings is countable. That's a real and useful pattern. It is not a guarantee that working always leaves someone better off overall. Taxes, work-related expenses, Medicaid rules, and other benefits can all affect a person's total result. And the exact figures and rounding should be confirmed on your own Social Security notice, since a real case can carry small differences. State supplements and how they're paid. Some people receive more than the federal maximum, and it's completely legitimate. A number of states add their own payment on top of the federal amount, called a state supplement. In those states, a person's total benefit can exceed $994. This varies sharply. Some states add a meaningful supplement, some add only a few dollars, and several states add nothing at all. There's also a difference in how the money reaches you. For some states, Social Security administers the supplement, so it's combined into the payment Social Security sends. Other states run their own program and send the extra amount separately. So don't assume every supplement arrives in the same check. And don't assume a figure a neighbor in another state mentions applies to you. To find out whether your state pays extra and how it's delivered, that's a question for Social Security or your state benefits office. Payment maximum versus resource limits. Here's a mix-up that costs people money. When the maximum payment rose with the cost of living adjustment, the SSI resource limits did not move with it. Those limits, which govern how much you can hold in countable savings and assets, are still $2,000 for an individual and $3,000 for a couple in 2026, unchanged for years. A higher monthly payment does not mean you're suddenly allowed to keep more in the bank. The payment amount and the resource limit are two separate rules, and the adjustment only touched one of them. Food help, shelter support, and one important distinction. It also helps to know what doesn't reduce your payment. Since a rule change that took full effect on September 30th, 2024, food that family or friends provide directly no longer counts against your SS1 the way it once did. If you turned down help with groceries in past years for fear of shrinking the check, that specific worry no longer applies. But there's a catch worth remembering. If someone gives you cash or a gift card to buy food, Social Security still treats that as unearned income. Food handed to you and money handed to you are not the same in their eyes. Shelter is a different story from food. If you live in someone else's household and they cover part of your housing, or you live in your own place and someone else pays your rent or utilities, Social Security may count part of that as in-kind support, which can reduce your payment. There's a cap on how much that reduction can be, but it's real. If your living situation is about to change, ask Social Security how it affects you before you move, rather than learning from a smaller check afterward. Spousal deeming and other situations needing review. One more for married couples. If you live with a spouse who is not on SSI, Social Security may count some of that spouse's income when figuring your payment. It's called deeming. And it can be one reason a married applicant's payment comes out lower than a single person's on the same personal income. Parental income can be deemed to a child in a similar way. Checking your own notice safely. Here's how to put this to work. Take your most recent SSI notice and find the payment amount. Then write down every source of monthly income you actually receive. You can run a rough version of the two steps. Apply the $20 exclusion. Apply the earnings breaks if any of it is from work. And subtract what's left from $994. Treat that as a basic estimate only. It will not match every notice, because a real case may involve an eligible couple, spousal or parental deeming, in-kind shelter support, a state supplement, work expense or student exclusions, an essential person increment, institutional payment limits, or other special rules. If your estimate is close to your notice, the basic income portion may be consistent, but only Social Security can confirm the complete calculation. If it's far off, that's worth a call. To verify anything specific, use Social Security's official channels. Review your information in a personal My Social Security account at ssa.gov, or call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213. If you're helping a parent, sit down and go through the notice together, because a second set of eyes catches errors that are easy to miss alone. The point to carry away is that $994 is the top of the ladder, not the rung most older recipients stand on. Your payment reflects your income, your state, and your living situation, and every one of those is something you can verify. I research the official rules and confirm the figures so you and your family can understand what's real, who it affects, and what to check next.